I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Special Counsel Jack Smith has subpoenaed former Donald Trump aide and current fascist podcast host Steve Bannon. The subpoena was sent in late May, and the subpoena is in connection with the grand jury investigating Donald Trump's conduct relating to the January 6th insurrection, relating to Donald Trump's election interference, potential wire fraud, and other campaign finance crimes committed by Donald Trump, Donald Trump's threats of local and state election officials, and other potential crimes committed by Donald Trump to try to overthrow our democracy, including potentially even a potential charge of sedition. Steve Bannon was previously criminally prosecuted by the Department of Justice, and successfully at that. And in a trial in July of last year, Steve Bannon was convicted of contempt of Congress for not responding to the January 6th committee subpoena for documents and subpoena for personal appearance for a deposition. Bannon went to trial in that matter. In July, a jury convicted Steve Bannon. He was later sentenced to 4 months in prison. Bannon is currently appealing that conviction to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. Steve Bannon is also under criminal indictment. He was charged by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office in connection with crimes relating to the We Build the Wall scam, in which his co-conspirators pled guilty and are serving significant jail time for advertising on GoFundMe that they were collectively raising money to build the wall that Donald Trump claimed that Mexico was going to pay for, but the GoFundMe money was not utilized to build any wall. It was used to build martinis and other luxury items for Bannon and his co-conspirators. Steve Bannon was previously indicted by the feds. The Department of Justice was pursuing criminal charges against Steve Bannon. They arrested him while he was on a yacht owned by Miles Go, and Miles Go is also now been criminally indicted by the Department of Justice for allegedly engaging in a $1 billion Ponzi scheme, which a lot of those funds were utilized to build right-wing disinformation media networks to spread lies about President Biden and the Democratic Party and to spew anti-American propaganda. But in any event, Steve Bannon was pardoned by Donald Trump for his role in the We Build the Wall scam at the federal level. And within the past year, the Manhattan District Attorney, however, brought state crimes against Steve Bannon because Donald Trump, when he was in office, cannot pardon state crimes. He can only pardon federal crimes. So while the federal case against Bannon was dismissed, the Manhattan District Attorney brought state crimes, state charges against Steve Bannon, and that case against Steve Bannon will be going to trial in or on or around April of 2024, after Donald Trump is set to go on trial for 34 felony counts of falsification of business records, and Donald Trump's trial in the case brought against him by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is set to take place in March of 2024. So March 2024, Donald Trump criminal trial in Manhattan. About a month or two later, you'll have the criminal trial against Steve Bannon. But of course, now we're learning, NBC was first to report this, that Special Counsel Jack Smith has subpoenaed Steve Bannon in connection with his documents, communications, emails, text messages relating to the January 6th insurrection, relating to election interference. You'll notice earlier in my report, I mentioned the name Miles Go, again, the individual who owned the yacht the DOJ alleges was purchased with fraudulent funds that were based on scamming investors. That's where Steve Bannon was arrested on that yacht. But the name Miles Go is important in connection with Special Counsel Jack Smith's investigation because before the November 2020 election, Steve Bannon gave a speech at one of Miles Go's buildings. And in that speech, Steve Bannon was recorded. And you'll recall this was played before the January 6th committee. Steve Bannon said, "Here is the plan that I have. And the plan is no matter what is going to happen, Donald Trump is going to claim victory, no matter what the results are. And we are not going to in any way accept defeat, even if the results turn out against us." So Bannon was inextricably intertwined in Donald Trump's election interference efforts. Steve Bannon obstructed the January 6th committee's ability to gain information, gather information from him. That's why he was found in contempt of Congress and ultimately convicted of the 2 counts there. And now the question is, since he's been subpoenaed by Special Counsel Jack Smith, is Steve Bannon going to respond to this subpoena? Is Steve Bannon going to do the same thing that he did with the January 6th committee, not comply, and then be charged again with additional contempt? Is Steve Bannon a target in Special Counsel Jack Smith's criminal investigation? What I do want to clarify here is you may have been hearing, well, it seems that the Department of Justice has given Donald Trump a target letter, that he's going to be criminally indicted soon. Let's not forget that there are at least 3 grand juries that we've been reporting about. There is the grand jury in Washington, D.C., relating to the January 6th insurrection and election interference, grand jury number 1. Grand jury number 2 in Washington, D.C. is the grand jury relating to Donald Trump's theft of thousands of government records and obstruction of justice. That's grand jury number 2. Grand jury number 3 is the grand jury in the Southern District in the federal courthouse in Miami, in Florida. That one is also investigating Donald Trump's crimes relating to the theft of thousands of government records and obstruction of justice. So this subpoena to Steve Bannon is not from the grand juries that are investigating Donald Trump's theft of government records and obstruction of justice. It's from the other grand jury in Washington, D.C., where Special Counsel Jack Smith is presenting evidence and gathering evidence in front of relating to Donald Trump's election interference, relating to Donald Trump's theft of thousands of government records, is the other grand jury. So this is the January 6th grand jury, election interference, insurrection, Donald Trump's threats to state and local election officials, Donald Trump's wire fraud. It's coming from that specific grand jury in Washington, D.C. So those 3 separate grand juries. So we'll keep you posted as we learn more. Will Steve Bannon commit more crimes here in obstructing the Department of Justice's efforts? We will, of course, report on that. But one of the things we've said, I'll just say this in final, we believe the criminal investigation regarding the theft of government records and obstruction of justice, that will be the first indictment that Special Counsel Jack Smith will seek for Espionage Act violations, obstruction of justice, concealment and mutilation of records. We expect that one to come first. Expect that one to arrive soon. The other one is the broader investigation on Trump's election interference. We expect that to come later, perhaps early fall. End of summer or early fall. So just in case you're focused on the timing. But again, Bannon subpoenaed. Things are heating up on all fronts. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers thanks to your awesome support. Check us out wherever you get audio podcasts and subscribe to us on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. Hit subscribe on our YouTube channel.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.